Hello everybody, welcome to your live watch along of Napoli versus Spartak Moscow in the Europa League. So hopefully it works, hopefully we get the 3 points today, if I shall say that. It just hopes and prays to the gods that are we that we actually win a game. So I will tell you the lineup soon, but we need to win today. That's the main aim. Who started the season so brilliantly, is out for 3 months. Lorenzo Insigne is so we need to win today. That's the main aim for Napoli, is win. It's like a great format for life. 4 teenagers who have just one first-team appearance between them. Napoli. Could be a tough night in the Russian capital, where conditions couldn't be any less hospitable. -2 out there. They've been shoveling the snow for the last couple of hours. We have a rare sighting of the much-loved orange ball tonight. The much-loved sighting of the orange ball, wow. Moscow, never an easy place to come to, certainly not at this time of year. Come on, Napoli. The very best have failed. Napoli's last away match against Spartak Moscow was in the 1990-91 European Cup. Red Napoli! Forza Napoli! Tough when you come to this hostile atmosphere and difficult conditions. Go on, Napoli. Certainly no excuses for these Napoli players. There's enough quality out there to really show themselves, despite missing key players this evening. But Promise going down, and penalty is the decision. A penalty to Spartak Moscow. Fuck's sake! 40 seconds and you can see a penalty. You absolute dicks! 40 seconds in and Napoli giving away a penalty already. Why do that? Stupid idiot! Why do that? Robotka, why make a stupid challenge in like 40 seconds? You're basically ruining the game within 40 seconds. You stupid prick! Really close to the line. It's Robotka that's the player that's made the challenge. Why made the challenge? Ladinsky had it covered. You had no need to make a challenge. You had no need to make the challenge. You had no need to make the challenge. You had absolutely no need. It's a joke. It's a joke. Come on, Merritt. No Napoli player has really had much of a touch of the ball so far. Certainly Alex Merritt hasn't had that opportunity. It may well be that his first touch of the ball is to pick it out of the back of the net here. Quincy Promise against Alex Merritt. Come Merritt! Come Merritt! Come into tonight's game with a whole host of problems. Alexander Sobolev will try to... Alex Merritt against Quincy Promise. Or is it Sobolev? It's Sobolev! Sobolev versus Alex Merritt. And Sobolev has scored. Sobolev has scored. Spartak Moscow lead. Spartak Moscow lead. 1-0. Hit the front thanks to a penalty awarded after mere seconds. Spartak Moscow lead. Because the one it doesn't make any sense. The weird thing is the player was going nowhere, he was going to the box, but Ladinsky was literally right next to him. He might have had that covered. Why did the player go and have a stupid idea to go and make a stupid challenge like that in basically the first minute? Ridiculous. It will be now for the Serie A leaders, who have won 2 of their 4 Group C matches.
do come into tonight's game on the back of a 4-1 victory on the road in Warsaw last time. Rui Vitoria, who is under quite a lot of pressure at the moment, the Spartak coach, due to their poor form in most competitions. Early goal for him and his team, a massive lift. And I should think that Leicester City fans watching this will be pretty happy about it too.
Which is one of those starts that really have come from nowhere. Just really talking about, despite the injuries that Lucian Spalletti has got, they've started so poorly at the moment, just giving away the ball there in that midfield area.
Come on, boys, you can play better than this.
Very nearly in on that occasion.
Come on.
Understandable that having
this is good football. Come on.
Might affect the Napoli nerves even more, but they've got to get a grip here. Here's Elmas.
I'll give you the team news. It's just that something happened straight away, so I couldn't give you the team news straight away. But this is the Napoli team. It's Meret, Di Lorenzo, Koulibaly, Juan Jesus, Mario Rui, Lobotka, Ladinsky, Lozano, Mertens, Elmas, Bretagna. On the benches are Spinner, Idasica, Baba, Malkit, Manolas, Ramani, Fabian, Ambrosio, and Zikofu. I can't remember, I've never heard of before. And then this is the Spartak Moscow team to play Napoli today, and that's your two lineups for today's game.
It's been a magnificent start from them in Serie A. In their first 8 out of 8.
Here from Ayrton, intercepted by Jesus. He's making his 50th appearance in European competition tonight. Able to turn and picks out Chucky Lozano.
Come on.
Catania.
Oh, but
never reached him.
Go on, Napoli. Foul, ref. Thank you.
Free kick. Stanislav Lobotka being brought down.
Oh, everyone, if you guys like the stream, don't forget to like, sub, and subscribe if you are new.
Played for Napoli in Serie A since August. It gives you some indication of the lack of resources that he's been drafted into the starting 11 here.
Luis and Luisa is two preferred players in that midfield area. They just started so slowly at the moment.
Come on, Napoli. Handball. Go on, Zielinski. Go on. Go on. Shoot. Yes. Handball. Handball. Ref. How is that not a bet?
Not given. Not yet, anyway. Something else for the video system to do. A very lively opening to this game in the Otkriti Stadium. It's only November, but the Europa League looks like being Spartak Moscow's best chance of salvaging something from the season. They're having a rotten time right now. Last year's runners-up in the Russian Premier League are currently 10th in a 16-team division, twice as close to the bottom as they are to the top.
Come on, boys. Start playing better.
The situation for them tonight is that if they win this game, Group C really would be wide open. 3 points.
That's a foul.
For tonight's home side would take them level with Napoli at the top of the table. Would send an open invitation to either Leicester or Legia Warsaw to ascend to the leadership tomorrow night.
Still a long way to go, but as you mentioned there, a win for Spartak Moscow would certainly throw the cat among the pigeons in this group. To go from bottom to joint top on goal difference shows how tight this league is. Spalletti Spalletti has made changes in the Europa League this season, so it's not like he's gone for a settled 11 throughout this tournament. But you are missing key players: Osimhen, Insigne, and Guisa. I think the biggest going to be the loss is Victor Osimhen being out for 3 months, not only in the Europa League, but also Syriac.
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolute heartbreaker for Napoli and the player himself. 9 goals in his last 12 matches in all competitions, having the time of his life, but suffering multiple facial fractures in the game against Inter at the weekend. He had surgery yesterday on his cheekbone and his eye socket. He's going to be out for at least 3 months. Survive. Oh, another great header from the striker. At this time, the roof of the net.
A great run there from Ignatov down the right-hand side. When that cross came in, you really felt that Koulibaly, with the size and physical presence that he is, would probably have won that header. Sobolev just gets in front of him, gets something on it. I don't really think it's going to test the goalkeeper, but I think his side are on the back foot at the minute. They need to try and get into this game now by controlling the ball a little bit more, getting a little bit more in that midfield, controlling the tempo, trying to play their way through to that final third.
Catania. It's going to be a real test of his acumen tonight. The 26-year-old striker who could easily have left Napoli during the summer is Ayrton. Promise to Ayrton. No look pass from Promise that time. Here is Victor Moses lining one up. And the goalkeeper Merritt just about grabbed it with Alexander Sobolev lurking. If there was any doubt at all about the difficulty of the mission in Moscow for Napoli, I think it's just been confirmed in the opening 10 minutes. Elmas. Koulibaly. There will be a tower of strength for them at the back. But even with his leadership, it's going to be a tough night. That's not a bad ball. Very nearly picked out Mario Rui, who's now a long way from home, and there's a big gap in the left-back position. Rui getting back now. Ayrton. Jakia. Shigo. Comes back to Alexander Selikov, who's only recently returned between the sticks for Spartak, as that particular clearance perhaps suggests.
Come on, Napoli, at least try something. Guys, put your question in the chat.
Two positions there with the wing backs at Spartak Moscow.
Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 1. Psych.
Jesus.
It's like we gotta keep going for it, play as much as we can.
Their first defeat of the league season didn't cost them leadership of Serie A this weekend. Milan also lost.
Come on, Napoli.
Prior to Sunday's defeat. Just before the international break, Napoli struggled to beat Verona. Well, they didn't beat them, it was 1-1. Two-match winless streak.
Come on, boys, get your act together.
Since February. Not exactly a crisis, but certainly not quite hitting the heights of the early part of the season.
Guys, put your questions in the chat. Happy to answer anything you guys put in front of me. Put your questions in and I'm happy to answer anything. It's Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 1. which is damaging in itself.
Jesus.
The only reason I'm happy is because I wanted Juan Jesus to play against Lazio, against Inter Milan, and he didn't. But he's playing tonight, so let's see. I want to see how he can actually play. So it'll just be interesting to see how he goes.
Up in knots, eventually a short target let him off the hook. And that's a yellow card as well, Lippman opposite. It's an unnecessary foul, really. And that yellow card is costly for him, because that will rule him out of the final game in the group. And Spartak go to Warsaw on match day 6.
Bit of a silly yellow card there, no real need to pull the shirt.
There's Rhys Mertens. Just didn't much fancy the header.
Come on, Napoli, play! Play football!
Lobotka.
Go on! Pisano! Go on! Oh!
Mertens couldn't quite touch.
How can you not touch that, Mertens, man? The pressure's on you, Mertens. We've lost him out for 3 months.
Just got to be careful in that area there. Ayrton just trying to play out from the back, and Napoli were really quickly on him. Ayrton's making a run across that near post. Couldn't quite get the connection on the cross that came in, but now it's certainly been the best period of the game so far for Napoli, keeping the ball better in Spartak Moscow's half and slowly trying to break them down.
The wayward Napoli pass, but not costly this time. Koulibaly. Elmas has found Mertens, who's giving it back to him. This is better from the away side. There's Elmas!
Oh!
Second time around.
How would Elmas not have made it 1-1? Unlucky Elmas, unlucky!
Elmas, an equaliser for Napoli.
Well, it's a brilliant first save from Alexander Zelikov from Elmas. But when it falls to him the second time, you certainly favour the number 7 for Napoli to put that in the back of the net. And the goalkeeper certainly gets the rub of the green. Great first save there, but it's just a natural reaction here. Look at the left leg going up there to make the save.
They have taken the corner quickly. His ball in, Elmas's header comes to nothing. He scored after 12.6 seconds.
Very stressful so far.
Elmas. Not quite so lucky on this occasion.
Come on, do something.
In games between these two clubs, don't you? Spartak getting a penalty inside 45 seconds tonight. Spartak throw.
If you want to watch the stream, it is now live on the channel.
Former head coach of Zenit St. Petersburg, where he won 2 Russian Premier League titles.
It's now live on the channel.
The only titles of his managerial career. Something he is attempting to put right.
Just do something, Napoli, for crying out loud.
Foul by Koulibaly, at least in the eyes of the referee. Be a battle between those two, isn't it?
He started the game well. Sobolev with a really well taken penalty, but what is he doing well? He's occupying the centre halves of Napoli really well, being physical against him, probably not knowing he's going to win too many of those headers, but he's had one chance where he got in front of Koulibaly. It's a work rate and endeavour that's really encouraging to see.
Promise. Here's Victor Moses for Spartak. Deflection on that cross, so a Spartak corner is coming up. The central defenders, Kofrie and Jakia, and indeed Gigo, are all staying forward. Target 2, of course.
Come on, boys!
Jakia just lurking on the edge of the box at the moment. Barley won the header. Litvinov's secondary strike cleared away by Napoli.
Keep pressing.
There. Tanya battling away. Sometimes looks like a bit of a blunt object, Andrea Patania. Just the one goal this season. Scored a late winner at Genoa in August. His presence.
Not a good start to the stream, result-wise,
Down to Luciano Spalletti.
at the moment.
Patania was all set to go to Sampdoria in the summer. They had agreed a deal, but Spalletti requested of the club president that he not be sold because he didn't have the biggest squad, Napoli, they still don't. And it turns out to be a pretty good decision now when you consider the numbers that they've been reduced to tonight.
Oh, that Victor Osimhen now certainly had a part to play till the Christmas break, and then we'll just have to see what happens during that little period now to see if they're going to bring someone else in. Certainly occupies as a good squad player. I don't think he's hit the heights of what he did at Spal before he came to Napoli, with the goals that he scored there. He's found it really, really difficult to get a real run in the side consistently. That's really been down to the form of Victor Osimhen.
Passed by Zielinski that time. Moses.
Because it's being played in Russia, it's being played this early on a Thursday.
Useful interception. Almost once again giving the ball away. Too many of those misplaced passes at the moment for Napoli.
Wednesday.
With Lozano.
Come on, do something! Crying out loud! Lozano, man.
Spartak still in possession here with Ruslan Litvinov.
It's not helping.
To Frié. Moses takes over.
It's like we are trying our best to try and do something, but we just can't get, what's the word, can't get going. We're trying the best we can, try and get stuff. Get out! 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 If you guys want to put any questions in the chat, put your questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything you guys put in front of me. Hello to two or one of you in the chat. It is Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 1. Come on!
Spartak Moscow corner coming up.
Well, I said right at the start of the game, when I looked at the team sheet, I did feel that there was enough quality in this Napoli side to be competitive, but just at the moment they just seem to be playing as individuals. Not as a side. Clearly, the changes that Spalletti have made, they've just not really gelled at all. We're starting the game pretty poorly, apart from Elmas's only chance. Just a ball retention when they win it back. It's not been good enough.
Promise with the Spartak corner.
Oh, nearly 2-0. Nearly 2-0. Spartak Moscow. We are all over the place.
Another close call for Napoli.
The captain just got that little run across the near post area. Tanya there, there was zonal marking, and that's probably my only issue, that when you do go zonal marking, it's more of a standing jump, and you get players that can run into areas and see the ball.
We're trying to play the way we are, but at the moment we just can't get going.
Elmas. It's from Dries Mertens. Elmas again.
Oh, Elmas!
To slide it into the feet of Lozano. Still promise comes forward for the Muscovites. Europa League coverage continues tomorrow night on BT Sport. We had the other game live, of course, from Group C as Leicester City host Legia Warsaw. Champions League coverage continues tonight. Manchester City go up against Paris Saint-Germain. It's on BT Sport 2 from 7 PM if you prefer. You can see the game between Liverpool and FC Porto. That's on BT Sport 3. It's always a good choice to head for the goal show where you'll see every goal and every story as it happens with James Richardson and the team. Midway through the first half here. Napoli in a spot of bother. Defeat tonight would not be terminal for their chances by any means, but it's certainly going to put an awful lot of pressure on their matchday 6 match against Leicester City. It is in Naples. I think it's also worth pointing out that Napoli have lost at home only once since January the 6th, although that was Spartak Moscow that beat them. He's holding Lozano.
Go on! Oh, Merton! Oh, Merton!
A brilliant save from Selikov.
Oh.
A very strong hand from the Russian goalkeeper.
Oh, we're not equalised. How have Napoli not equalised in this game?
Denied a leveller. The brilliance of the Spartak stopper.
There have been brilliant saves as well. Not routine saves, big saves.
Litvinov has got a problem here. Seems to be struggling as well, the young midfielder. Gives us a chance to have a look at that latest Selikov save.
The patient build-up play in front of him. They use the width really well. He just gets that late run, and what he does well, he lets the control of the ball and just takes this thing out of the pass and lets it roll across him. What the keeper does well, he just stays big as long as possible.
Zielinski is the main player at the moment. He's the guy who's creating all the chances, getting everything going.
Really important save.
It's just like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. Napoli have not got going. We've had a couple of good chances. But from Elmas, which has done a good save on the keeper. And the other one is by just from Petrik Zielinski. Apart from that, we've not really troubled the keeper that much. Spartak Moscow have had one good opportunity, which was a penalty inside 40 seconds, and that was it. Apart from that, nothing else has happened. It's a bit appalling. We played 26 minutes, and Napoli have had six attempts on goal. So far to Spartak Moscow's 5. And it just shocks me how we just can't find the finish and just can't get anywhere on the field. Anyway, it's just somehow, some way, we just can't get going. But we are going to get chances. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort for these players to try and gain something from this. But if we get anything from this, it's going to be hard grafting. It's going to be made to work hard. And Lobopka is the main reason why we are 1-0 now. Oh, for God's sake!
What it's done essentially is it's added a little bit more jeopardy to these Europa League group games.
Guys, put a question in the chat. Anything you want. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys put in the chat.
Napoli may well find out. Solev.
Come on, Napoli! Keep passing the ball if you guys like the stream. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to like, sub and subscribe if you are new.
The Europa League winner with Chelsea, although he remained on the bench when they beat Benfica.
We're just going to play with passion. We've got to play with heart. We've got to play with a bit of tenacity and go for it.
This is taking on Rui and getting the better of him.
Oh, they've scored again! For God's sake, Spartak Moscow are 2-0 up.
And Napoli are in big trouble here. Spartak Moscow lead by 2-0 with 28 minutes gone. Top scorer Alexander Sobolev has done it again for them. His second of the night. His fourth in the Europa League this season. We said he'd be the danger man.
Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 2.
And it's all about Victor Moses just waiting for the right time to plant the cross in. And not too often would you say that Koulibaly misjudges the flight of a cross that just goes over him. And Sobolev does so well because he reads that flight, he just drops back a little bit and uses the power of the cross to go in there and direct the ball into the bottom right-hand corner. It bounces into the net. And Alex Vela doesn't have standard shot.
Napoli are just collapsing, man.
And that is a huge goal.
Napoli who won their first 8 games of the Serie A season.
But I just think it's a pivotal moment in the season, and I think what is gonna not gonna help Napoli as in going forward is the fact we don't have Osimhen for 3 months because he's got several fractures in his skull, I think, or his head. So you can't help that when someone's colliding with a player in a game and he's ended up getting a swelling in his around his eye, which meant now he's got several fractures in his skull, which meant that he's now out for I think for 3 months. So we just got to rely on what doesn't help. They're playing blooming Britannia up front, who can't even freaking run. I would have played Britannia actually behind Mertens, not Mertens behind Britannia. Because what did Mertens do when the second half coming on against Inter Milan? He scores. What did Britannia do when coming on against Inter Milan? Did nothing. Did nothing. But like I said, there's not much we're going to have to do. I think we just got to keep going. We just got to keep pressing. And if we can get a goal before half time, I'll be happy. But it means that it gives us a slight bit of hope. But like you can only try so much. But apart from that, you try everything you can in everything. It's just when something doesn't go right for you, it just happens that the injury to come at literally the worst time for you, and it's happened to Napoli. And I can see this being an absolute drought. I can see us getting absolutely battered in this game, and that'll be to the fact that he's playing. That he's playing, I think, the wrong player up front. But does he actually have anyone that is more worth playing up front? I would play someone like Mertens, but do you have anyone else who could more or less do up front? If you got anyone that could be worth to do it. If you guys are enjoying the stream with the thumbs up, don't forget to like, sub and subscribe. If you are new, it's Spartak Moscow 2, Napoli 0 in the Europa League. And as the group is, it's Spartak Moscow who go top on goal difference to Napoli. Then it goes to Legia, Warsaw and Leicester City, 3rd and 4th respectively. But guys, put in the chat anything, and we can have a nice good conversation. Because at the moment, Napoli just can't get going. Let's see if we got anyone that we could be on the bench. We have got a striker, but it's a striker I've never even heard of. He was only 18 years of age. I just think at the moment, Luciano Spalletti, he's left some key players out of this game, and I just don't understand why. Why he's leaving out Nguiza? Why he's leaving out Insigne? Because we could have easily, if we had Insigne with this team for this game in the lineup, he could have gone. You could have put Insigne where, you could have put Mertens where Britannia is and put Insigne next to him, and then you've got something to rely on. You've got something that can work. But they have, at the moment, really, we've got a young striker on the bench who's 18 years of age.
Appeared briefly at Euro 2020, Alexander Sobolev.
But at the moment, just nothing's going right. It's just really gone absolutely wrong today. Yeah. The only reason the first goal happened because Lobopka went in for a stupid challenge when really there was no need to make the challenge. Lazinski was literally next to him, and he could have had that cover, could have nicked the ball away, do anything, could have nicked the ball, go out for a corner, anything. but Lobotka decided, I'm going to trip this guy up, literally on the line. That means it's a penalty. And then the other one, where, fair enough, when the ball comes in, you try and jump. Sometimes you'll jump for the ball, sometimes you might get the ball, or sometimes you might mistime your jump. And unfortunately, Koulibaly mistimed the jump. That meant that when he jumped, he went a little bit late, so it meant he missed the ball. But that's, from his experience, shouldn't be doing that. But I can completely understand, you're trying to time stuff better for it to work. But like I say, if we can get a goal before half time, you never know what can happen in games. You never know what can happen. I've seen weird things in football. If I give an example, it was in the FA Cup this season. You had Stockport County versus Bolton. Stockport were 3-1 down at half time and came back to win 5-3. So anything's possible in football. So keep that as an thinking anything can happen in football.
There were 6 lone spells during that time.
We're just gonna see how we do, and just pray to the gods that we. Pray to the gods that we is what I would say.
Mertens. Zano into the path of Di Lorenzo.
If you guys want to put any question in the chat, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys put in front of me. It's Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 3.
That's the problem when you've got snow around. Icy surfaces and studded boots, never a good combination.
About 35 minutes played, 2-0 down. Just gonna try the best we can with what we got. See what can happen.
Peter Zielinski. Hanging on out to Di Lorenzo here, who ordinarily is one of their best attacking weapons, Napoli, but he's not been able to get forward at all so far.
We just got to see what can happen in games. Luciano Spalletti, I just think he's got his not the formation wrong. He's basically the players that he's picked. I think he's got wrong because he's left really key players at home, which I think, like Insigne, we could have had something damaging, like more or less get going on the wings, get us going forward whenever we needed to. We don't have that. We don't have that.
Because Napoli are not keeping the ball well enough when they win that turnover.
Sobolev has gone down for Spartak Moscow, and Napoli have agreed to put the ball into touch so he can get a spot of treatment. He is certainly a player that the Muscovites do not want to see struggling. 15 goals in all competitions last season. Joint top scorer for them.
It's not like it's anything bad, but like I say,
Jordan Larson, who is the 24-year-old son of Henrik Larsson.
Just gotta play well, just do what we can and see what can happen, but at the moment nothing's really going right.
Great play though from Victor Moses, that during Mario Rui in those one-on-one areas he didn't do enough to stop the cross coming in, and not too often that you would say Koulibaly mistimes the flight of a cross and gets caught underneath it. But they've taken their chances and Napoli haven't, and that's why they're 2 goals behind.
Halving the deficit before the interval would be of major help to Napoli. It would certainly help with confidence. Zielinski, Lobotka, the blue shirts forward here. One is Lozano. That's not a good cross from the Mexican winger. Very little has worked so far for the Partenope. finished first in their Europa League group last season, but lost at the earliest opportunity in the knockout rounds to Granada. Here's Ignatov, Litvinov, Promise. Spartak Moscow having no difficulty at all keeping the ball away from Napoli. Free kick this time. Giovanni Di Lorenzo impeded. Mikhail Ignatov just getting a bit ticking off from the referee. With plenty of possession, but not really enough achieved with it. Certainly Alexander Selikov has had to make a couple of good saves, but I wouldn't say that Napoli have been creating that many chances.
I think that really shows probably possession in their own half more than in Spartak Moscow's half, and clearly see with that stat that Spartak Moscow have not really done too much to be chasing the ball and chasing down people and spending a lot of time without it. Napoli are happy to play it out from the back and keep it well. What I mentioned is just in that final third.
So come on, come on, Napoli! Do something!
Britannia shielded the ball well from Ayrton. There's found Zielinski here. Elmas has got a bit of room.
How is that not a foul? How is that not a foul?
Just fended off Elif Elmas there. I think he wasn't there. And Sobolev is still struggling. Whether that's the same problem or a new one, it's anybody's guess. There's no way past Kafriye here for Elmas.
Just the foot of Jesus there, just catches him in the rib area.
Come on, God, come on, Napoli, get something going. Oh, for God's sake!
A couple added on. It seemed to take about 2 minutes to get the penalty taken, if I remember rightly. Here's Promise, the man who won it. Just going to throw this time. That's Mikhail Ignatov that's gone down this time. 21-year-old just seems to be holding a right ankle, is it? Seems to be. This close to half time, I thought that he'd be replaced. You never know. Here's how it happened. The weight really of his opponent there goes on top of the ankle, might have just jarred it.
I think it was just a challenge, wasn't it? And then just tried to carry on with it.
He's moving under his own steam, should be no problem for Mikhail Ignatov to carry on.
Just got to play, we've got to do this, do that, do this, do that. And I thought,
suspicious looking throw from Ayrton, but nothing given.
we try the best we can, and we're just not being good enough. We're just not being good enough in the final third of the field, and defensively we've not been good. And if we can try and get Luciano Spalletti, he's going to have to do something at half time, and I'm just not happy. that in the Europa League he's leaving his best players at home, which shows that he doesn't care.
Time rapidly running out for Napoli at the end of this first half.
Which I'm not happy about, but that's just life.
Jesus, Koulibaly, Lobotka. Spartak very well organised.
It's just really not been a good performance from the boys. It's been absolutely, I want to say lethargic is the word to describe it. It's not been really good. But if they can at least get one chance in this game and get a goal, you never know. It could spark something.
Seem to be any way through these.
But I don't think it's going to happen, because the fact is, we have got someone like Batania up front who can't run.
He's had room to turn. He found
Put the ball in the box. Put it in the box. Go on. Go on, Mertens. We're just trying to play it around them. Why are we not going to put the ball in the box?
Koulibaly.
Yeah, that's not gonna work either.
Sloppy pass from the skipper that gave possession away.
Yeah, that was never gonna work in a million freaking years.
It's promise to Ayrton. Of stoppage time will be added at the end of this first half. Very little has gone right.
For Napoli, very little has gone right. You're too right.
Jesus making rather a meal of that one. Will be corner, will it? A real misunderstanding between Jesus and his goalkeeper. The offside flag maybe went up in the end.
3 minutes at the end of the first half. 3 minutes.
So if it did, it was a somewhat harsh decision. It was a strange one.
It's just been very lethargic first half. Been absolutely awful. Nothing gone right. Everything that's gone wrong has gone wrong. And it's just Napoli have just been passing the ball around and not even having shots, and that's what's appalling. Just not going. And yet again, we are relying on Mertens and Ledinski to get us out of trouble. You can't just rely on two players, more or less, your best two players on the field, to get you out of trouble, because it's not going to work. It's not going to fly. Irving Lozano, you haven't even got in the game. Mertens had actually tried to do something, but just no one's been in the box to do it. Ledinski had the best chance of the game because he's actually bothered to have a shot. So as Mertens has bothered to get through, but just no one's bothered to be in the box for them to get a cross in or something like that. It's just ridiculous. It's just nothing's working. Just nothing's working.
Finds Lozano. There's still time for Napoli to pull one back here. Lobotka.
It's just...
Zielinski.
Go on, Zielinski! He's doing something! Mertens are doing something, but nobody else in the team is doing anything!
Mertens to Mario Rui.
Yes! Yes! Oh, Lozano! Over!
Full control of that header. And the final chance of the half for Napoli goes begging.
A little bit lucky there, Selikov, because he came out and then realised he wasn't going to get there. Fortunately for Spartak Moscow, it did fall to Lozano, who I would say is the best in the air. Scoring too many. And that would have been a big goal for them going into half-time, and now even a hard team talk to try and turn things around now.
Napoli came into tonight with plenty of problems.
Half time,
To
Napoli
deal with here.
0,
2
Spartak
goals
Moscow
from Alexander
2.
Sobolev.
Let's see how the
Spartak
second half
Moscow,
goes. I'll talk to
a
you
2-0
guys.
lead here in the scoreline, which threatens to throw Group C wide open.
I'll talk to you guys.
We were talking about confirming their place in the top 2 of the
I'll see you
group
guys in about
tonight.
15 minutes. I'm just going to pop off quickly and I'll see you guys in 15. Hello everyone. I'm back. What can I say? Napoli, we aren't shite. The manager's just made some wrong decisions, which is he's left Zombo and Guisa back in Italy, so has Insigne. Osimhen's out for 3 months with 3 fractures in his head or in his skull due to his eye swelling on Sunday. But I think one of them has actually got a fractured eye socket, so it's out for 3 months, which doesn't help. And basically now it looks like most of the main man to try and get Napoli through this 3-month period without Osimhen will be Petr Lezinski and Dries Mertens to try and Koulibaly to get out of a hole, which you can't. They are 3 best players, literally. But like I say, there's not much you can do. If, like I always say, if you can get a goal, off in the second half, early doors, and score, then we have a chance of maybe getting something from the game. But like I say, it all depends on how the game plan goes. I'm going to put some music on, but we're not. We're going to be playing some of my songs, which are the songs of my own playlist from what I've made, so that you guys can hear. So let's go. That's if it works, but it's not going to. But ayo, what can you do with life? But I'm not gonna let Napoli losing get me down. Be a disappointing result, but you can't win every week, like you say. You can't win every time. You can't win every week. Like it was a good run for Napoli going this many games without losing. That Napoli have never done it before. But now we've now get into the harsh reality. Now we've lost our first game of the season. We're now gone into the next game straight after a back of a defeat, and we're now losing 2-0, which for me ain't a good sign, ain't a telling sign. But we'll try the best we can. We'll try what we can to try it and rectify it and do what we can when we can to do what we can. Yeah, we're just gonna learn from your errors, learn from your mistakes, and just play as well as we can. And like, just waiting for the second half to kick off and everything else. But try and do as much as we can do. But you live and learn. You can't win every time, but it was good while it lasted. But you just gotta. You just have to try your best, do what you can do. Just have if we can get into second half, be on the front foot, get some movement going in the first instance, we can play well, play with a little bit of hope, and hopefully go for absolute... Guys, put some questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys put in front of me. It is Napoli 0, Spartak Moscow 2 in the Uefa Europa League. Just to see what you guys' thoughts. There's a poll in the chat for you guys to vote. Hopefully, see what you guys' opinions are. And more or less, hopefully, second half. We just got to see how it goes. But anything can happen in the second half of a game. We don't know, but you just got to see what comes of it.
Though in the Napoli dressing room, I think there's probably been a bit of a meltdown at half-time. Especially when you consider they've got to come off of this Europa League game and then go into another important game with Lazio at the weekend. Coverage of that one begins at 7 p.m. with Golazzo live, of course. James Richardson and James Horncastle with all the build-up to Sunday night's big one. This is how the Group C table currently stands. Spartak Moscow's 2-0 lead, good enough to tie them on points with Napoli at the top of the table. Leicester City host Legia Warsaw tomorrow night. If there's a winner in that game, we'd see another new leader. Spartak have done brilliantly so far, considering their recent poor form. He started in Champions League qualifying this season, Rui Vitoria's men, but lost to his old team Benfica. It's put them in the Europa League for the first time in a while. They have been in the Champions League group stages far more often in the last decade, the Moscow club. Something of a blessing and a curse, that, because they always finished bottom of their section, which meant no progression to the Europa League, so no real chance to go deep into a European competition. This season may give them the opportunity to do that. But hanging on to this 2-0 scoreline will be a crucial part of that process.
Players are just coming out for the second half.
Napoli, meanwhile, have got to dig deep, and they have got to find a second half performance far and away better than the first half one. Napoli had quite a sensational start to the season under Luciano Spalletti. And as the weeks have worn on, as the nights have drawn in, their place at the top of Serie A has looked a little more vulnerable. Now it's the same story in the Europa League. Spartak Moscow will get us underway in the second half of this matchday 5 game in Europa League's Group C. The Muscovites lead Napoli by 2-0, a scoreline which has thrown the group wide open. Got a penalty
Come
in
on.
the opening seconds of the first half, Spartak, and they're looking for something similar here. Napoli at 6s and 7s directly from kick-off. A sense of deja vu.
I thought exactly the same was going to happen again. And it's off the player there. Just stopped for a split second, whether or not he maybe heard something in the crowd or heard a whistle or something, but he just slightly hesitated when he went through.
Final effort came in from Nail Umbyarov. I swear that hat's getting pointier as the evening has gone on.
Come on, Napoli, get going.
Christmas elf. Although I'm not going to be the one to tell him. Mario Rui. In the last 6 weeks or so, I'd say that the Napoli wins when they've come got a little bit scrappier, a little bit more hard fought, a bit grittier, and even ugly at times. And while that seemed like minor criticism or hyper criticism when they were still winning, suddenly they're not. And I think you would start to worry if you were a Napoli fan, especially with the injuries that they're starting to pick up all of a sudden.
I mentioned that they don't really have the biggest of squads. And these players, like Patania, got to really step in and try and make their mark. And Bocca as well, coming back into it for a rare start this season. So you mentioned that game against Lazio on the weekend, absolutely huge for them after that bitterly disappointing performance and result against Inter Milan on the weekend.
Lazio, a very unpredictable outfit under Maurizio Sarri, who naturally will want to shape things in a game against Napoli. And he was so responsible for best part of their decade of success.
Napoli! 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 Napoli!